The modern mind is louder than ever. It doesn't rest, it scrolls, it doesn't think, it loops. You wake up, grab the phone, and before the first breath, your mind is already a battlefield, flooded with updates, opinions, comparisons, expectations. You try to slow down, but stillness feels foreign. You try to focus, but thought after thought interrupts like restless waves. You don't lack peace. You've just forgotten how to access it. The Stoics knew this feeling. Not the phone, not the feed, but the same storm inside the mind. Marcus Aurelius, a man burdened with empire, called it the noise within. Epictetus, once a slave, later a teacher, called it the mind untrained. Zeno called it the fog between man and reason. And Cleanthes, who spent his nights carrying water to afford his study of philosophy, called it the still flame. This is a guide for the modern world, drawn from their lessons, how to quiet the noise, reclaim your reason, and live with a mind that obeys you, not the other way around. And before we begin, if this already speaks to you, take a moment now to like and subscribe. It helps these ideas reach others walking the same path, those fighting invisible battles with their own thoughts. Let's begin fighting back and reclaim what is ours. Lesson 1. You are not your thoughts. Epictetus taught that the first freedom lies in distinction between what is yours and what is not. He said, "Some things are in our control and others are not. Your thoughts are not commands. They are weather passing through the mind. But when you mistake them for orders, you hand them power. You are not angry. Anger is happening within you. You are not anxious. Anxiety is moving through you. You are not your overthinking. It's a storm inside your awareness, and awareness is always larger than the storm. In our world, this is harder to practice than ever. Every scroll, every ping, every headline triggers new thoughts. The brain reacts, the heart follows, and before long, your mind isn't yours anymore. But this is where the Stoic practice begins, the pause between stimulus and response. When you feel lost in your thoughts, try this. Say silently, "This is not me. This is my mind thinking." You'll feel a small separation. That's freedom. You don't have to stop the thoughts. You just have to stop identifying with them. Overthinking ends where observation begins. Lesson 2. The age of overload. Seneca warned, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." He wrote those words 2,000 years ago, before notifications, before infinite scroll. Today, we live in the world he feared, where attention is scattered so thin, nothing touches deeply anymore. We call it multitasking, but it's really mental erosion. The constant feed of information has become a kind of quiet poison. You scroll not because you're curious, but because you're escaping. You chase updates because you fear missing out, yet what you're missing most is your own life. Seneca advised retreating into yourself, not as escape, but as restoration. He wrote letters to his friend Lucilius, reminding him to guard his mind as one guards his home. Do you leave your front door open for strangers to wander through? Then why do you leave your attention unguarded for every algorithm to enter? Take 1 hour each day and fast from input. No phone, no music, no noise. At first, it will itch. Your brain will crave stimulation. That craving is proof of dependence. Stay with the discomfort until silence stops feeling empty. That's when you'll rediscover the depth of your own mind. Lesson 3. Emotion before logic. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, didn't teach emotionless living. He taught emotional mastery. That reason should guide feeling, not erase it. Overthinking isn't too much logic. It's emotion in disguise. It's worry pretending to be planning, fear masquerading as caution. You think you're being rational when you replay that argument for the 10th time, but you're not solving. You're soothing your ego. You think you're researching when you spend 3 hours comparing options, but you're really afraid to choose. Reason should serve you, not trap you. When your mind spirals, ask, what am I feeling underneath this thought? Fear, shame, uncertainty, name it, and logic returns. Because logic without awareness is blindness dressed as control. Zeno said man conquers the world by conquering himself. You don't need to solve the universe, just your reaction to it. Lesson 4. Stop arguing with reality. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." He reminded himself this truth daily, even as wars, plagues, and betrayal surrounded him. He couldn't change the storm, only his stance within it. We, too, argue with reality constantly. We replay conversations that are over. We try to edit the past in our heads. We fight what already happened, as if mental resistance could rewrite history. But every moment you spend in resistance is one you steal from acceptance. Acceptance isn't passive, it's clarity. It's saying, this is what is. Now what's my next best move? Overthinking thrives in fantasy, in trying to control what already exists. Peace begins where fantasy ends. So next time your mind replays an event, stop and whisper, this already happened. Then return to what's still in your power, the next breath, the next choice. Reality always wins. The wise don't fight it, they flow with it. Lesson 5. Fear wears many masks. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Modern life is built on opinions, constant judgment, constant reaction. Fear doesn't always feel like fear. Sometimes it feels like perfectionism, like analysis, like endless planning. You're not cautious, you're afraid. Afraid to fail, afraid to be seen, afraid to start. Seneca saw this same paralysis. He wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Overthinking is imagination turned against you. You picture rejection before you try. You imagine disaster before it arrives. You create 10 futures, none of which ever exist. Courage doesn't erase fear, it moves with it. Act first, clarity follows. Action is the antidote to mental paralysis. The Stoics didn't wait for confidence, they built it through motion. Lesson 6. You cannot scroll your way to peace. Cleanthes. Cleanthes once wrote, "Lead me, Zeus and you, destiny, to wherever your decrees have assigned me." He believed that peace came from acceptance, not escape. Today, we escape more than any generation before us. When discomfort arrives, we reach for a screen. When silence appears, we fill it with sound. You check your phone before you've even processed your last thought. You chase distraction, not because you need it, but because stillness now feels unsafe. Overthinking and overstimulation are siblings. One lives in the mind, the other in the hand. Both whisper the same lie, that peace is one more scroll away. But true calm is built in the moments when you resist that impulse. The first few seconds without noise will feel unbearable. Then, slowly, your awareness widens. You hear the hum of the room, your breathing, the small rhythm of life that technology drowns out. That is your mind healing itself. Cleanthes taught that inner harmony comes when we stop fighting the moment. So put the phone down, let silence be uncomfortable until it becomes familiar again. That is the beginning of real stillness. Lesson 7. Comparison poisons the present. Marcus Aurelius and Zeno. Marcus wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none know the truth." Zeno taught that the wise man lives in agreement with nature, not opinion. Modern life, however, is built on comparison. You measure your worth against strangers you'll never meet. You scroll through highlight reels and mistake them for reality. Each image quietly tells you, you're behind. But comparison is an illusion. It's judging your full story against someone else's edited moment. No one posts their boredom, their loneliness, their doubts. When you compare, you exchange gratitude for envy. You begin to chase shadows instead of building substance. The Stoics called this the sickness of externals. They trained their minds to turn inward for validation. Ask not, how do I appear, but what kind of person am I becoming? Your progress is measured not in likes, but in composure, not in applause, but in peace. When envy whispers, remember, what you see on the screen is not the life, it's the performance. The real contest is between you and the person you were yesterday. Lesson 8. Self-doubt is the mind's smoke alarm. Epictetus. When the mind doubts, it's not always betrayal. Sometimes it's a signal. Epictetus taught that the untrained mind swings between arrogance and despair, certain one day, defeated the next. Doubt is part of growth, but obsession with it is decay. In the modern world, we call it imposter syndrome. You achieve something and still feel unworthy. You start something and instantly hear the whisper, "Who am I to do this?" But the Stoics would remind you, identity is shaped by repetition, not recognition. You become confident by acting, not by feeling ready. Every time you act despite doubt, you teach your nervous system a new lesson. I survived. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it's the memory of survival. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When the voice of doubt rises, respond with discipline, not debate. Action answers fear louder than affirmation ever will. Lesson 9. Control what you can, release what you can't. Zeno and Marcus. This is the backbone of Stoicism. Zeno framed it as the boundary between fate and choice. Marcus lived it daily under the weight of empire. The modern mind confuses awareness with control. We monitor every metric, followers, finances, health stats, until vigilance becomes anxiety. You don't gain security through control, you lose peace, chasing it. The Stoic question is simple. Is this within my control, yes or no? If yes, act with clarity. If no, withdraw your emotion. Half of overthinking dies at that first boundary. You cannot control opinions. You cannot control the algorithm or the weather or the next decade. You can control your effort, your honesty, your attitude. That's the entire kingdom you've been granted. Guard it well. Peace begins where obsession ends. Lesson 10. Comfort is decay disguised as success. Seneca. Seneca warned, soft living weakens the spirit. We often mistake comfort for happiness. You work hard, reach a stable place, and slowly your edge dulls. Ease becomes the silent killer of purpose. Today's comfort looks different. Binge watching, food delivery, constant convenience. You never need to wait, to struggle, or to sit with discomfort. And yet, anxiety rises, not falls. Why? Because strength comes from friction. Without it, the mind grows fragile. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship, cold baths, simple meals, sleeping on the floor, not for punishment, but preparedness. They understood that comfort breeds fear of losing comfort. Step willingly into small discomforts each day. Do the thing you've been postponing. Take the walk when you'd rather scroll. Speak the truth when silence is safer. Every act of discipline sharpens your blade. Seneca said, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare. Because when you prove to yourself that you can endure less, you no longer fear losing more." Lesson 11. Your environment is your unseen teacher. Clenthes and Marcus. Clenthes compared the mind to clay. It takes the shape of whatever holds it. Marcus wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Today, the dye is digital. Your feed, your company, your content. They train your emotions silently. If you spend hours consuming outrage, you'll feel angry without cause. If you fill your life with cynicism, hope becomes naive. You are absorbing constantly, and what you absorb, you become. Choose what shapes you. Curate your circle as carefully as your diet. Read what expands you, not what flatters you. Follow those who remind you of your better self. You can't stay calm in a room built to provoke you. Peace requires architecture, intentional design of what surrounds your mind. Your attention is soil. Plant wisely. Lesson 12. Memento Mori. Remember you will die. Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus. This final lesson is the oldest and most liberating. Seneca called death the one debt no man can avoid. Epictetus reminded his students, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus wrote those same words into his journal nightly, not as dread, but as focus. Modern life forgets this. We treat time as infinite, and in doing so, we waste it. We argue online. We worry about opinions that will vanish tomorrow. We plan endlessly for a future that never arrives. But when you truly remember mortality, your priorities rearrange themselves. Petty thoughts fall away. What matters sharpens. You speak more truth, love more deeply, act more freely. That awareness is not morbid, it's the ultimate clarity. Memento Mori, remember death so that you can finally live. If you're still here listening carefully, your discipline is already rare. Most people abandon the search for stillness after the first few minutes. You've stayed. That means you already carry the seed of control the Stoics spoke of. The power to persist when distraction calls. Take a slow breath in, hold it. Now exhale. That's your proof. You can direct your attention whenever you choose. You are not a prisoner of thought. You are its ruler, learning to reign again. Overthinking doesn't mean you think too much. It means you think without direction. The mind is meant to serve you, not torment you. When trained, it becomes your ally. When ignored, your enemy. Epictetus gave his students one rule. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Don't just listen to these lessons, live them. When anxiety rises, remember, lesson 1. You are not your thoughts. When the phone calls for your attention, remember lesson 6. Peace cannot be scrolled into existence. When you fear the future, recall lesson 9. Focus on what's within control. And when life feels meaningless, remember lesson 12. Your time is short, which makes it sacred. If our work brings you value, please like this video and subscribe. It helps us keep sharing messages that matter. And if this strikes home, comment below, I will stop. That single phrase is your commitment to stop feeding doubt, stop drowning in noise, stop living half-aware. Because you are not your fear. You are not your feed. You are not the sum of other people's opinions. You are the still point in the storm, the mind that chooses calm when the world demands chaos. Live awake, live clear, live deliberately.